Sweet Christmas.
Shout out to my birds.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Che.
And this is Cory.
And this is the Next Time On podcast, a podcast where two lifelong friends discuss all things amazing and all things fetid in popular culture. It's like if Mario and Luigi redirected their energies from genociding the Mushroom Kingdom to bring you all the hot content. Is that fair, Cory?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I guess it's kind of how you like view like the Mushroom Kingdom. Is it all those toad things? Why is there only Peach and Daisy the only normal humans? I got a lot of questions about it. There's just dinosaurs, but like dinosaurs are good.
You're saying the John Leguizamo Mario Brothers movie did not answer all these questions for you?
You're right. I forgot that. I forgot about the famous Mario and Luigi Mario brothers.
The Mario, Luigi Mario in a movie where the only thing we know about Mario is that he's a plumber and he jumps, and they made him unable to jump.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that.
There's a scene where he's like, I'm afraid to jump across this 2-foot gap.
Do you think what's going to be worse, that movie or the new Chris Pratt version?
I mean, isn't the Chris Pratt version like an animated thing? I think the animated thing
but
fine.
no, I'm just.
I think we're all overreacted because for some reason we decided 2 months ago we hate Chris Pratt. I'm not here to defend Chris Pratt. I don't give a shit. But that movie's gonna be whatever. Who cares?
Somebody's like
the original Mario Bros. Movie is an abomination against humanity.
I think Fred Armisen is fucking Bowser, so it actually might make it worth it.
Isn't Keegan-Michael Key in it? Like it's gonna be a kids movie. It's gonna be fine.
Oh, Seth Rogen's gonna be Donkey Kong. I'm excited for that. Yeah.
The internet decided to, and there was like a bunch of memes. Like now, every time a movie gets announced, there's like a fake or sometimes real announcement. Chris Pratt isn't in this movie.
I mean, that's kind of like going over the last 5 years. I mean, that's not a really.
Chris Pratt hasn't been in like many more movies than many other A-list celebrities.
But I feel like there was like we've had like we kind of stopped post Guardians of the Galaxy. Everyone was like, he needs to be in everything, and then after
even that, he was in Jurassic World, technically.
Jurassic World,
and
Passengers.
Which, let's be clear, none of you can complain about Passengers because none of you motherfuckers saw that movie. I know.
Well, yeah, it looks
I went
bad.
to see it.
The Lego movie.
The Lego movie, but everyone loves the Lego movie. Why are we pretending now we don't like the Lego movie?
No, I like the Lego movie. He's good in it too.
Now I've become the guy defending Chris Pratt, which I
now you're doing it. Wow, you monster! Magnificent Seven.
I do. That's true. I forgot he was in Magnificent Seven. I like that movie.
He was just in a shit ton of stuff, like back to back. A
Chris
lot
Pratt's
of like. I mean, Avengers. I mean, the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy felt like he was in everything because of
he was in Onward, which I watched. But don't remember really anything about.
It's not great. You're right though. It's not that much stuff.
Yeah. He's in a normal amount of movies so everyone's happy when Keanu Reeves just shows up in random shit. Remember that comedy that Keanu Reeves has like a cameo as Keanu Reeves in?
Crazy Rich Asians, I think.
Is it Crazy Rich Asians?
I don't know. It's something like that. But
No. It was the other Netflix movie with Eddie. Oh my god, I'm not gonna remember his name. This is insanely terrible podcast.
This is great podcast.
Today we're not gonna be talking about Chris Pratt or Keanu Reeves, despite what the first 3.5 minutes of this podcast might suggest. Today we'll be talking about the beginning of the award season with the announcement of the nominations for the Golden Globes, an award ceremony that I think nobody will be able to watch. So that'll be interesting, but still indicative of what the rest of this the most wonderful time of the year will give us. We're also going to be talking about the end of a great Batman miniseries and, of course, the penultimate episode of Hawkeye. But first, as always, the business. You can follow us at Next Time On Pod on all your social media platforms. You can also find all of our archived podcasts, all of our writing, all that good stuff at nexttimeon.net, as well, and newly so, our YouTube channel where this podcast and the past 5, I think we're up to 5 episodes, are on video form. You can see Cory and I.
You can see Che's very cool shirt. I'm not going to say what the shirt is, but you guys can go look it up. I like that shirt a lot.
It's a great shirt. Thank you. So go check out the YouTube if you want to see my great shirt. And Cory's also has got a great shirt on. That's an Akira shirt, right?
No, it's actually from a music festival.
Oh, it looks like from the only thing I can see of it looks kind of like the motorcycle shot from Akira.
Damn, I kind of want that T-shirt now. I don't know if I've ever seen that, but I want that T-shirt now.
But let's do it. We gotta talk about the thing.
All right, let's do it.
Elevator pitch. Corey's gonna go first. I'm gonna put a
Okay.
minute on the clock, and Corey's going to pitch us something that he loves. Whenever you're ready, Corey.
So basically, I guess I'm gonna kind of play into nostalgia because everything that we loved is once again back again. Because case in point, we're all probably gonna go see Spider-Man this upcoming weekend. For what's gonna be, I think, the 9th time there's a Spider-Man movie. But what I picked,
that's right.
what I picked for this is a video game that I unfortunately started my addiction. So it's kind of like a blessing and a curse in the sense that like comic books was just a bad decision entirely, and I kind of wish I can go back and undo that. But Halo Infinite just came out, which is like a game. I think this is a sequel to a game that came out. I want to say the 5th Halo came out like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So it's been a long ass time since I played one of these, and I forgot how much fun a game like this could be, and I was surprised like how good the story was too. And it's like one of those things where you got to go back and you kind of like reintroduce yourself to something that you used to be like very invested in. It's just a good game, great story. I didn't know they were making a Steven Spielberg TV show, which is apparently happening, but didn't know about that until like last week. But
Yeah, I just watched the trailer because it's gonna be on Paramount Plus. And while I was watching Mayor of Kingstown, my new favorite terrible TV show,
is it bad?
it's not bad. Like I shouldn't say that. It's got terrible reviews, which I think are an exaggeration of the quality of the show. There are parts of the show that are genuinely ridiculous. Like there's just a character who is played by Diane Wiest, like a very famous, like, respected actress, and the only point of her character is she has scenes where she just delivers essentially a monologue, but it's framed in the suggestion that she is a professor at the prison, I guess, and she's just talking about the history of America through the lens of critical race theory, and which I love. I love talking about the failed empire that is America. Don't get me wrong, but there's no point to it in the plot at all.
It's just somebody wanted to write in and be like, yeah.
And it's just like indicative of a lot of the show, which is like the show has some cool ideas and obviously politics that I very much agree with, but doesn't really have a great way to weave them into the story. So sometimes things feel very out of place. But yeah, I did watch the Halo trailer, and I didn't realize like the cast is sick. The cast is like kind of wild for that show.
Yeah, it kind of came out, and I guess following Halo is like whenever you're about to move your TV show, you kind of just put it in the back of your brain because you were told you were getting a movie from like years and years and years from like Neil.
Wasn't there like a Netflix short, like a 20-minute thing?
There was a Netflix short thing that was like late. I was like, okay, that's the thing. But like the guy who did District 9, I think was attached at one point, and I think Spielberg's been on and off again. I think even Peter Jackson at one point was attached to the project, and it never really went anywhere. So when I actually saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is actually coming out and it's going to be a thing. But it kind of feels like it's 15 years too late in a sense.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. But I feel like they could have definitely caught that like lightning in the bottle in the mid 2000s.
Yes. This is definitely not the peak of Halo's popularity.
Shit was huge back in the day.
Yeah. Although, as far as I know, it's hard. It's hard with games like this because obviously, Halo is now that we have streaming platforms for video games essentially. So like the numbers behind video games are going to start to become like the numbers behind Netflix shows. Like it's unclear how many people are playing Halo, how many people are watching Squid Game, that sort of thing. I think this Halo is very popular though.
I think Halo back then had the benefit of being like its own thing. Yeah. So it was before we could have all this access. So it's like you want to play video games online, you got Halo and then Call of Duty, and no one really played Call of Duty then. And then Call of Duty became everywhere, and now it's the worst thing ever. Come at me, nerds, whatever. I'm bad at those kind of games. I'm really bad.
Defend Call of Duty. I don't care.
Fucking spend 30 goddamn minutes walking around and you get shot by one guy. That's your game. That's it. Some asshole hiding in a bush gets you after 30 minutes of walking around with your buddies. Not fun. Who's fun? Who's I don't get Fortnite. I don't get it. Explain it to me.
I think this is
how do people make money on it?
For a different podcast, Corey.
All right. You're right. Jay, what's your pitch?
All right, my pitch. Give me 1 second because, of course, I didn't do my job before this. All right.
It's okay. I'll keep talking about Fortnite.
You want to keep talking about Fortnite?
No, of course not.
All right. I put a minute on the clock and go. So my pitch, listen, I don't feel great about this. My pitch is a movie that pretty much nobody can watch. I'm sorry. My apologies. If you live in Los Angeles or New York, though, there is a possibility that you can check this out at a art house theater, but it will be streaming eventually. So this is the 2021 film by Audrey Diwan called Happening. Not The Happening, just Happening.
Yeah, that's a rough name to put it between.
I think it's got a different name in French, but I don't know it. And it is this really harrowing, I will say, but also beautiful story about a young girl trying to find an abortion or get an abortion in late 50s, early 60s France, in which it is a jailable offense. The parallels between that and modern day America are quite depressing, but also very intentional. Go check it out. I realized I ran out of time, so I just yelled, "Go check it out!" at the end.
Go check it out. Go.
But
I would love this elevator thing. Like it's like the elevator something. I was like, all right, go check this out, and I'm like, all right, this is my floor.
I didn't do that. I didn't manage my time very well there. I have to say, this is the movie Cory that almost killed that woman that I was telling you about.
Yes.
I guess I should tell that story. People aren't confused about what that sentence means.
Yeah, please tell that.
So I went to go see this movie in theaters, obviously, like I said, and near the basically the end of the movie. This isn't really a spoiler because you know the movie's about an abortion. Is a pretty graphic scene of a girl getting a illegal abortion, and I hear behind me this woman, a voice going, "Help! Somebody needs help." And I think it's part of the movie because obviously on screen something bad is happening. And I'm like, weird. I was literally my first thought, because I'm like a fucking weird nerd. I was like, sick sound mixing. How'd they make it sound like it was coming from the seat behind me? And then I realized, no, wait, that's not how speakers work.
That's not how it works at all.
And I turn around and I see what I think. And the reason that I'm laughing is because, let's be very clear, this woman did not die. So this is a funny story, not a horrific story. I turn around and look at what I see as a dead person. And I'm like, fuck me. So I get up and like go to the lobby to try to find somebody to like turn on the lights, figure out what's going on. I'm turning on my cell phone to call the cops. Not the cops, the ambulance. I'm not calling the fucking cops.
There's a dead woman. Come get her.
I turn on my cell phone to like call the ambulance. And I eventually, sort of basically long story short, the ambulance comes, gets this woman, and she is carted out through the lobby, and I see that she's sitting up and talking to the police, and they gave her like one of those sick bags that you get on an airplane. So I think she just fainted because, like I said,
or she's
the scene
a ghost.
on this, or she's what?
Or she's a ghost.
Or she's a ghost, and I'm the kid from Sixth Sense. Those are the two options. Those are the only two options. But yeah, there was a moment there where I was like, wow, I've seen a person die, and that's not great.
No, usually that was an eventful movie for you, wasn't it?
Not the worst part. The worst part for me personally. Obviously, the worst part was a woman had a medical emergency.
I don't think.
But the worst part for me personally, I want to reiterate that.
Wow.
Only for me, not for society as a whole, is that they took their sweet ass time pausing the movie. So I ran out and tried to find somebody. So I missed, they took 3 minutes to pause the movie, and then they came back in and they were like, we can't rewind it, which I don't really understand. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to rewind a movie. I know they're all digital now, but I would assume there's just a way to go back.
No, I don't think there is. I think it's like some kind of weird.
I guess not, because I remember. Were you in this movie to go see Dark Knight? Dark Knight Rises?
So. I was reading something online about somebody who like runs a small theater, and it's basically they give you like a hard drive or something, and they you have to type in the code, and you only get to use the code so many times. So that makes sense. Start the movie.
Yeah. So either way, they couldn't rewind it, and this was the only time they were showing this movie because it was for a festival. So I didn't see the last 3 minutes of the movie because when they paused it eventually, and then the guy goes, all right, everybody, we'll restart it, and literally they restarted it, and it's a shot of her writing something down, cuts to black, credits roll. It was 3 seconds left of the movie. I was like, why not just tell me that? I could have fucking gone home But either way.
That part was important, Che.
Well, it was good to know that the
She
girl didn't die in the movie.
That's good. That is a very
Which I guess I'm
important-
spoiling the end of happening, but
Whatever. I mean, honestly, man, I'm sure if you're watching that film, it's like probably a pretty rough. Sometimes there's a movie like that, and I just kind of want to know the ending, just so I can kind of.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is very bad for breaking movie rules, but sometimes it's a rough hang, guys, and I just want to. I want to make sure I'm gonna be okay on the other side, and I don't want to faint by the end of it.
I should preface, like I said at the beginning, this is a rough movie to watch, and very intentionally. This is supposed to be very clearly a cautionary tale of what society looks like when you make abortions difficult and or illegal to obtain. And the performances are fucking incredible. They lend to the fact of this movie, and it's handled really well. There are some weird. This is the second French movie I've seen in the past 2 weeks, and both of them had like very weird sex scenes in them that didn't make any sense. There's one scene, and listen, I've never been a teenage
we all
girl,
just watched
so
the French Dispatch. We all know what it's like.
it's true. I've never been a teenage girl, but there is one scene in which a girl just masturbates in front of her friends with like no warning. She's like, "Hey, you guys want to see something?" and then just starts masturbating. And I was like, "This is crazy. The French are insane. We should lock them all in prison."
Yes.
But
We tried that
the
once with
movie is really
Australia.
good.
We saw how that worked out. Big ass.
I don't know. Australia's pretty good.
Yeah,
Australia's doing pretty well.
Whatever. Big
All
ass
right,
spiders.
let's move on. Unless you want to talk more about the happening.
No, I just hate that you like came in with a movie like that and like had very political and timely references, and I'm like, I like the video game that I get to shoot aliens in. That's me. Whatever.
Listen, there's nothing
Whatever.
wrong. I love video games too. I've been playing Halo. I love Halo 2. I've just been, as you know, I've been in the fucking trenches this week, going to the movies every day.
Yes, you have.
And
You mentioned yes.
I could have
He's on
either
a tight
talked
schedule.
about that movie, House of Gucci, which is, I want you to see it because I really want to talk about Jared Leto in that movie.
Oh God, no! Don't say that. That's the worst. That's the worst way to get me to watch a movie.
I also could have talked about Benedetta, the other French movie that nobody can watch, but that movie's fucking insanity. What else have I fucking seen this week? I can't even really remember. Doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the Spider-Man movies. Because I think there's a new one coming out, right, Cory?
I don't know. I think some people have talked about it a little bit, but it's weird to me how this has become like, I guess everyone's going to see this movie kind of like weird mode. And there's like, it's a lot of people like I wouldn't have expected to go see this movie being like, oh yeah, I'm going to this movie theaters this weekend to kind of just get themselves back to going again. I didn't really expect this movie to be like the whole like go back kind of situation.
I was as surprised as you. I talked about this before about the event nature of this movie because I mean I'm excited for it, but I would have thought Eternals would have had this effect.
And ladies and gentlemen, I was going to Google it so I could have it on hand information about the Spider-Man movies, but I think I almost just got spoiled for some shit, so I ain't going to Google shit no more.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You're wild for that.
I was trying to go look up. I was going to go to a Wikipedia page. Apparently, I should go fuck myself. All right,
I haven't even been on my Explore tab on Instagram
done.
in like 2 weeks because I saw a meme. I saw like the corner of a meme that I thought was a Spider-Man spoiler, and I was like, "Fuck that!"
No, we're so close.
Out of here.
We're too close. But yeah, no, I said this to Che because I was kind of just thinking about like, and I mentioned this, like we're about to be on movie 9 of like in the actual like straight up Spider-Man movies. We got
and 10 have been announced. We've got the sequel
11
to Into the Spider-Verse coming.
Well, Into the Spider-Verse is a part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, that's right.
And then also behind that, there's
crazy they're
3.
doing that.
Also, there's 3 more Tom Holland movies in the future as well that was confirmed. So yeah, I think so. I guess like we're kind of it's kind of a weird move though. But Dune couldn't do that for some reason.
I think the difference, I'm always here to defend Doom, is I don't think they were 100% sure Doom was going to be a hit.
Absolutely no. I think if they knew Dune was going to be what Dune was, it would have been immediately greenlit. I don't believe that was the case. But I was mentioned today because I was watching Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire movie, 2006 film. I'm guessing on top of my head, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to Google. Not great podcasting.
2004 is release of Spider-Man 2.
Okay, the 2004. Damn, really? So I guess I was 10. But watching it nowadays, and there's always conversation with people where I will never ask their opinions about Spider-Man, but it's like, people like, you're a nerd. You're a nerd. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Like people are like, yeah, you're a nerd. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, Tobey Maguire's best Spider-Man. Like I don't recall asking for your opinion, but okay, thank you for telling me anyway.
It is still one of the last like true debates we have in comic books and comic movies, right?
it's funny though, because like we can accept people are different Batman. Like I rarely see people being.
Well, I think the difference is that nobody is. And listen, apologies to your boy. I know you're a fan. I don't think anyone's arguing Ben Affleck is the best Batman. That's the difference.
I'm not. Don't say Ben Affleck's my boy. He said some wild shit this week. I do
Did
not
he?
want to. I don't want to be
haven't paid
co-signed
attention.
at all. I don't. He said like being in my marriage led me to alcoholism. I felt trapped because of her, and I'm like, that's not something you're ever supposed to say.
Who was the her in that? Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner. Yeah.
Not that I'm here.
Why? No, we're not talking about this. We're not talking about this.
To say anything negative about a woman I don't know, and obviously I agree with you that you should never put your business or your partner's business out there in public. But Jennifer Garner does seem fucking exhausting to be around.
So does Ben Affleck, honestly.
That's true. I wouldn't marry either of them fucking people.
Yes, no, I think both of them need to just go, just. At least it's not as insanity that is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but all right. But I was like, I was watching the second one because I remember as a kid, I mean, like everyone's like, this is the best one, and I haven't gone back and watched the Amazing Spider-Man movies at the time yet, but just like watching this one, I'm like, this is the best one, and I was watching, I'm like, was this good back then? And I'm not saying it's a bad.
I think
movie.
it was good back then. I think that's the distinction that people are not willing to listen to now. Is that the Sam Raimi, and I love Sam Raimi.
Love Sam Raimi.
Spider-Man.
I'm excited
movies.
for Doctor Strange too. I'm excited because of him. Yes.
The Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were good for the early 2000s, which is when they came out. The first one comes out in 2002. The final one comes out in 2007. That is a long time ago as far as superhero movies are concerned. For
Yes.
reference, Iron Man comes out after Spider-Man 3.
Damn.
Iron Man is a year after the end of the Sam Raimi trilogy, and Iron Man, when you go back and watch it now, still amazing, still love Robert Downey Jr. There are things in that movie that have aged horribly,
yeah.
just in comparison to other superhero movies.
You can't have a Tony Stark pre him going to like getting like captured as a character in a movie nowadays because he's fucking horrible.
Yeah. That's kind of the point, though. He's supposed to be a bad guy.
Oh yeah, but I think
the
the way they play, I mean, like this is why James Bond is in the same way he is now. Though very much like, oh, he's like the ladies' man. He could just like the whole way they portray it. It's like it doesn't fly.
It is psychotic that this is just American and British society and the way we treat women in the last 50 years. But it is psychotic that James Bond was ever seen as a ladies' man when all he did was beat and murder women.
Yeah.
James Bond was basically handsome Jack the Ripper.
I kind of like that in the new casino, in like the newer series though, where it's just like not as much of a focus until like the last two. But it's like,
yeah, that was my least favorite part about the second to last one was that sequence with who is it?
Oh, the one, not
it's not Ava Longoria, is it?
No, talking about Spectre.
Yes.
Yes. No. Not,
there is a
no,
famous.
No.
I
That's
want
not
to
Ava
say
Longoria.
Hispanic actress, but I'm not remembering because I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Where there's like a 10-minute sequence in the middle of that movie where he's like just being hella creepy around her for some reason.
Super creepy, and it's like just like, and it doesn't even lead to anything. It's just like 10 minutes
of her
of
getting
him.
fucking shot.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
She dies in the movie. I remember that.
Yeah, remember I mean in Skyfall where he just walks into that woman's shower and then she gets killed about 10 minutes later in the movie.
Yeah. Don't fuck James Bond, ladies.
No.
I know he looks like Daniel Craig, but he'll ruin your life.
Speaking of people ruining their lives, Spider-Man, back to that. But it was like watching the Spider-Man 2 movies, and the movie itself it's like corny, but it's part of the time. So I'm not trying to get that away. I'm not trying to distract from that. But what I was mostly, like, the thing that I was kind of was like watching this movie, I'm like, why do people ride or die so hard for Tobey Maguire? And I wonder, because I don't think anyone in this movie is good besides, what's the guy's name who plays Dr. Octopus? Alfred.
Of Molina.
Yeah. He's the only one I think who's actually doing a good job. But I mean, like, Kirsten Dunst, Tobey Maguire, James Franco, J.K. Simmons is fucking amazing. Let's not detract from that. His scenes are fucking phenomenal. But like,
although I do think it's, as somebody who's never acted, I do think it's easy to be loud, angry man. I think that's one of the easier acting jobs.
Yes,
I love J.K. Simmons, but I do think just shouting at Peter Parker to get you more photos is an easier job.
It's easier. I think it's easier said than done. But I don't think anybody. If they recasted him in the Marvel ones, I think that would have been a mistake, and I'm glad that they just brought him back without really an acknowledgement.
Yeah, I can't really even think of another actor I'd want to see play. I was gonna say Commissioner Gordon, That's
I mean,
crazy.
he was Commissioner
I
Gordon.
know, but I couldn't even remember the fucking J. Jonah Jameson. I couldn't
Yes.
remember his name for a second. That's wild.
But yeah, besides like those two, I mean, the movie is like fine. Thought it was a pretty good horror. I thought it was a pretty good hero movie. But it's just like fine. I didn't really understand the Tobey Maguire ride or die-ness. And honestly, I really liked Andrew Garfield when he first came in. I really liked the Amazing Spider-Man.
My takes on the Spider-Man hierarchy are well documented and also reviled by the public, which I'm fine with. I think Amazing Spider-Man is better than all three of the Sam Raimi movies. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is an abomination. Don't get me wrong.
Horrible. But
it is in conversation for the worst of all the Spider-Man movies ever.
But I think the reason those two, I mean, I think the reason that Amazing Spider-Man, I don't know if I agree with you because I haven't seen the Amazing Spider-Man in a long time. But I think the difference is that Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone are just really good.
Just better. Way better.
They're like a lot more. The chemistry is so much better. I think like between the two of them, they're the reason I kind of stood through the Amazing Spider-Man too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought the movie was shit, but I really did like the ending. And then the ending until they made it the actual ending with that weird freeze frame at the very end.
I don't remember what's the freeze frame.
It's like the Rhino has his suit and he's like charging towards Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's like, "Dude's
the thing from the trailer." It's not
the thing
in the
from
movie.
the trailer is the fucking cut to black at the end, and I was fucking furious.
That was the beginning of Sony truly losing the plot on what superhero fans wanted from their movies, because I think that's when it was the next movie, Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they tried to introduce like the Sinister Six in the most ham-fisted way ever. And it's like, first of all, you don't even know if people are on board with this version of Peter Parker. Now you want to introduce a Spider-Man multiverse? Get the fuck out of here.
So now all they did is abide their time though, Che, and now they're trying it again.
Yeah, I've said it on this podcast before. I would like to know what dirt Jared Leto's agent has on every single movie studio on planet Earth.
I want to fucking know too.
Because I don't understand how there's a Morbius movie, and I don't understand why it stars him. It's insanity to me.
What do they even want to do with that?
You can buy tickets today for Morbius.
Do you think people are?
That's how excited.
Do you think people are gonna be like excited to be like, oh shit, Jared Leto is gonna be with Tom? Like, who the fuck gives a shit? Like, I'm not excited to see Jared Leto in a movie. If anything, I don't want to see a movie with Jared Leto's in it. Like, Tom Hardy was in those bad Venom movies. I'm sure at some point he's gonna be in like the Tom Holland movies proper.
Yeah,
that's fine because Tom Hardy's a good actor. Yeah. But like Jared Leto is just Jared Leto.
There is something that not only the wider movie public sees that we don't, because he has been in massively successful movies, and also like people really love. There's like a cohort of people that think he's the best Joker.
Okay, those people are just bad and wrong though. They're bad and wrong. They're bad people. They're bad people.
There are like real-time directors that keep. Fucking Ridley Scott cast him in like a fat suit and a bald cap to be in his movie. People want to work with that guy. I don't know why.
Weird as shit though.
But yes, the Sinister Six. The Sinister Six thing is probably the worst. I know everyone hates that there's like 12 villains in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Everyone hates that he's like in a love triangle that nobody asked for. That's Bryce Dallas Howard, right?
That's in Spider-Man. Okay, that's Spider-Man 3, the Tobey Maguire one. You're confusing myself.
Isn't there another?
Bryce Dallas Howard is in Spider-Man 3.
Okay, yes, you're right. But there is
and they break up because
in Amazing Spider-Man 2, isn't there?
I don't remember. I remember that there's a dead Emma Stone at the end of it. That's about it.
Despite the fact that you know it's coming, it still sucks.
I mean,
Shailene Woodley. Shailene Woodley is Mary Jane in the movie.
I think really?
Yes, and they like go study at his house like once or twice, and you're like,
I don't even remember that. Yeah. I don't remember this. I don't remember that at all. Yeah. I will say this: the best thing about Emma Stone's like inclusion, the best thing about those movies, in fact, I think those made Gwen Stacy a popular enough character again to lead into Spider-Gwen. So
Spider-Gwen is either shortly before the release of the movie or shortly
I think it's after. Yeah. I think it's a little bit after, but yeah. So I think it's her contribute like that character probably wouldn't be a thing without Emma Stone.
And who's given us Spider-Gwen and Gwenpool, two of my favorite Marvel characters.
God, I fucking love Gwenpool. But no, I mean, now we find ourselves here on like our third Peter Parker, right? I feel like I might be missing one at some point, but I don't think I am.
Fourth, if you count my boy Nick from New Girl.
And then we're also going to count then Chris Pine as well. Is that another one? 5.
Is he Peter Parker?
He dies. He's the one who gives he's the one who dies in Miles' main universe.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is Chris Pine.
So fine, you're right. Then we got 5. Okay, you happy? I'm not doing the animated ones. That's enough.
I'm happy. Thank you.
That's none. That's enough. But no, now we find ourselves at the end of the series with who I don't like. I was kind of wanting to watch the movie, and be like, okay, let's see how they're gonna bring these. Like at least know about Dr. Octopus because the fucking trailers won't shut the fuck up about it, and every billboard ever.
Yeah, even that got spoiled for me.
I'm sorry, bud. Like
You're
there's
fine,
more.
I already knew.
Yeah,
It's as unavoidable as the.
Yo, man, I
the
was
Hulk
so
in,
mad.
Ragnarok.
I was trying to do your thing, and then I was in a theater, and then I think it was like Shang-Chi, and then it was like all the trailers that I'd skipped out on, which is back.
You gotta
back
listen. I wear a hat. You gotta wear a hat. You gotta put headphones on, and you gotta do this while the trailers are on, and you look at your phone.
So Alamo has this policy with the phone. They even get kind of weird during the trailers.
During the trailers? No,
they
that's
get kind of
wild.
weird with it.
I turn my phone off the second the trailers end. That's crazy.
I was with a coworker and I was talking with him, so I couldn't be like, "Oh, all right, so sorry, man, I can't
told
talk."
You, listen, you got to be more of a dick, Corey. I just tell people, listen, I don't watch trailers. Sorry. It's like that, man.
So at least so far though, like we won't. I guess we'll see with how this No Way Home ends up, if it sticks to landing or not.
Well, let me ask you this: Do you hope? I know the internet has decided they really want Toby and Andrew Garfield back in at least this movie, maybe not in the MCU permanently. Do you want them in this movie? I will preface by saying I do not. I am not interested in seeing them in this movie with Tom Holland because one, it will look crazy because Tobey Maguire I think is 50 years old now. Right.
I mean, he looked like he was 50 back.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire has always had 50-year-old face.
Well, I mean,
46.
Also the best thing about Tom Holland though is he actually does look like a fucking normal teenager. I mean, Andrew Garfield's like, yo, that motherfucker's in like college. Yeah. He's not. Let's not. But
he could be Andrew Garfield in the Amazing Spider-Man movies could have been a high school senior.
I forgot they made him like a scene kid. Like he had like skinny jeans and shit. I forgot they did that.
There's a scene where he skateboards a Spider-Man.
Yeah, he skateboards. That's a weird. Whatever. Those movies had their own issues.
Yes. They're far from perfect. Let me be very clear.
They are far from perfect. I'm not saying the Tom Holland movies are perfect either, but like at least
I don't know. Homecoming is pretty close to perfect.
Homecoming is pretty fucking. Far From Home is a lot of fucking fun. Jake Gyllenhaal's so good in that movie.
I just don't like the oh my god, what's his name? His friend and his like relationship. Ned and his relationship storyline, it makes me mad every time.
Watching it again, knowing the punchline at the very end of it makes it a lot better because it's just like this is just so stupid. Like every time they pop up, it's just so fucking stupid, and right. I enjoy it from that capacity. But like in the movie, something like I don't care. This is just, they didn't know what to do with Ned in this movie. I'm guessing.
No.
Even though Ned's
you could just not have Ned in the movie. That's okay.
I still don't know how I feel about the whole Ned situation, especially because they just stole Miles Morales' plot line from him. But we did get Spider-Verse, so that's fine. But that's Homecoming is Miles' they just took it. They just took it away. At least we got Spider-Verse. So I guys want to sum this up. The best Spider-Man is Miles Morales. All right, let's keep moving the episode. But no, I guess like, do I want to see them? I think it would be cool, but I don't think it's really make or break for me. I feel like appealing. People are like, I gotta see this movie, and I'm like, why? Like, why do we need? Like, I have a feeling we're probably gonna see them. I'm guessing, but like, I'm not gonna be disappointed if we don't see them. Would it be cool to see 3 Spider-Man at one time? Especially, well, the one thing I was like, the Spider-Man 2, the one thing they actually had going for it, the choreography and the way they shot like a lot of the action was really fucking well done, especially with what they had to work with now. And I went like right back and watched Far From Home, and I'm like, oh, I bet he wish he could do like Sam Raimi could do any of the shit that he wanted to do there now, because his shit looks easy as hell. Yeah. With how good CGI is now. But I don't know.
There's a lot of reasons that the early Spider movies are bad now, or not. I shouldn't say bad. Or not as good.
No,
now.
they just don't like hold up. Like it's not like the old Batman movies, like the Michael Keaton ones, which hold up. Those like hold up, but like it's not like that. It's like it was a weird time. The mid 2000s. We've gone on record saying the mid 2000s is probably one of the worst times for movies, especially because like just sustainability, I guess.
Yeah, although I should say, I mean, 2007 is one of the best years in movies ever, and it's when we get the worst Spider-Man movie, which is
What was in 2007?
Oh, There Will Be Blood.
Oh yeah. Okay, you know what? Okay,
No Country for Old Men.
These action films, like the
American
whole
Gangster.
these aren't what I'm talking about. Clearly, you asshole.
Well, hold on. Let's be very clear. 2007 also gave us Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. I think that's the second one. Or the third one?
That's at World's End is the third one.
Okay.
But I guess okay. Oh, I also had one last. I guess question for you is, I did not like Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, and as a kid I didn't like her. As an adult, I definitely don't like her as it. But do you like who do you think so far is like? I don't want to say love interest because I guess Emma Stone's the only one who actually kind of stayed consistent with it, and Zendaya's MJ is kind of like it doesn't really become a thing until the very end of the second movie.
It's like halfway through.
It's like halfway. I mean, like they have a good banter with each other.
Yeah, he tells her that he's into her on the bridge, and then we get the last act of the movie, right?
The last act of the movie is really good though.
Yeah. As soon as we see the Jake Gyllenhaal standing on the counter in the bar, I think
it was a bar.
That's where the movie really picks up. You're like, oh, this shit's good. This shit's really good now.
Because like he's gonna be a bad guy, but how is he a bad guy? Like, oh, he's a fucking actor. Of course he's a bad guy. All actors are bad guys.
Especially Jared Leto.
Do you have a favorite though of so far of the love interest?
It's Emma Stone.
I didn't want to say.
I don't think it's actually that close. I think it's Emma Stone and it's not that close.
Because I feel like they missed the mark on. Because Spider-Man is not fucking funny in the Tobey Maguire ones.
That's because
it's not fun. Yeah,
as legendarily, Tobey Maguire is a humorless weirdo.
It was supposed to be Jake Gyllenhaal. Well, Jake Gyllenhaal was,
you know how much better. I mean, even despite the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal also would have had premature old face,
yes,
it would have been way more fun. It would have been a way more fun movie.
I can't remember. There was an actor. It might have been Jake Gyllenhaal because Tobey almost wasn't able to do the second one for some reason. I think he got hurt filming Seabiscuit, and he almost wasn't able to.
When's the last time you watched Seabiscuit?
I was forced to watch it in school, and I didn't understand.
It is.
I didn't understand what I was supposed to get from it.
One of the weirdest things that's happened. It was a incredibly popular.
I still think about.
Popular.
That the scene with like I guess it was like who was it I guess it was Ford, like Gerald Ford. I think it was like supposed to be him, and it's like son like took the car and like drove off a fucking like cliff or some shit like that. I don't remember.
Truly batshit crazy movie.
I don't remember what that seemed to do with the movie, but I just remember like being a child and laughing at the kid just slowly getting into the car and it just goes off.
It's been a long time, and I rewatched Seabiscuit recently. I don't really know why.
Why?
I think I just had I was like Seabiscuit, huh? And then I just started watching it, and I finished it. It's 2.5 hours basically, and it is the whitest thing that's ever existed, and I'm including Downton Abbey in that list. It's such a weird movie, and it was a massive hit, and basically. Besides the Spider-Man movies, obviously, is like Tobey Maguire's biggest movie, and the reason why
I think it's
not
my favorite role of his is still Great Gatsby. I thought he fit the but I think it's like the character is so much like I feel like the character is so much him in the book that I'm like okay. When I saw it was cast, I'm like okay, this makes sense. He's like he's a very good plain timid boy.
I'm on the record as saying I just don't believe the Baz Luhrmann hype. I think that guy.
I didn't say the movie was good.
Weird decisions.
Did I say the movie was good?
Okay,
it's not
fair,
a good movie.
Fair.
I'm just saying he was good in it.
Fair.
I thought the casting for that movie was very good. I love
casting for the movie is great.
Joel Egerton as the angry whatever. I don't remember the character's name, but I liked him as that.
It's my favorite. I think it's Isla, not Ilsa's, which I've been saying for forever. I think my favorite Isla Fisher performance.
I think it is Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
I love fish. But no, I have nothing else to say about.
Is that where you want to end this segment on you saying I love fish after we talk about celebrated actress Isla Fisher? Is that how you? I'm just asking. I will cut to.
I want to live in the world where Jake Gyllenhaal took over for Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2 because I feel like that would have been a much better film. Because it's like the Spider-Man 2. Most of the film is just dunking on Spider-Man, and then he gets. I think the best thing about Spider-Man is the Spider-Man 2 is the character just gets depression, but they didn't know how to really say that out loud back then. Yeah. And I thought that was a very interesting way to look at it. But it's just so much consistent dunking on a Peter Parker to the point that I'm like, I just kind of feel like so sad for you. And I'm like, just do something like funny. At least like, I don't know, like it's not his fault that it was his birthday and his best friend hates him. Yo, James Franco's character slaps Tobey Maguire in the face twice in public. And it's like the most insane sequence ever. And he just doesn't do anything about it. It's just, if a full-grown man slapped me in the face twice.
It's a very weird. I want to say. I didn't even really know. It's just like a very weird character choice they've made with all of the not nemesis, but like the peers. Like remember Dane DeHaan in
He's a bad actor. I know he talks like from Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
He plays Harry.
Osborn.
Why do they keep making Harry a bad guy? He's not a bad guy in the comics.
Well, he's also like
so weird.
He's such a. I don't even think DeHaan's like a bad actor. He's been in some interesting stuff. Not that movie with the model, the Valerian and something House of a Thousand Cities.
We should know that apparently it's a very popular comic book, and we should probably actually know that.
No, I'm good. Thank you, though. But I just every time they seem to make the worst possible decision with his nemesis. Even I think, and I know everyone loves Flash in the Tom Holland ones. I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of Tom Holland's Flash.
No, I don't. I think that he's probably the worst part of the movies. Not the actor, but
I think it's such a weird character choice for that Flash Thompson. Especially it's like, I think it's really short-sighted, in my opinion, for the Flash like casting. Not the actor, but like the way they portrayed him, because like in the comics he like eventually like has a very cool storyline. I mean, it's like replicated a lot of the times. Like, well,
they did some retcon in the early movie, in the end of the second movie, but I think there was, and it's my point is like I think movies in general, and especially movies geared towards school age kids, don't have any idea how to handle school bullies, and like I guess Harry Osborn's not technically a school bully, but they make him in like the model of all the other characters that came before him, and they're just so uninteresting. I mean,
that's one thing. Like the one thing I actually like about Tom Holland stories is he has a friend who's not like a love interest that he's actually like confides in, and I think that's a very like thing that was missing. Huh?
And then she becomes a love interest.
Ned.
No, you mean Ned. Okay.
I mean,
you meant Mary Jane in the first.
No,
one.
He doesn't tell her she's a love interest in the second one. But no, I'm talking about Ned, at least in the first one.
Why do you think the comic book incels didn't burn down all the buildings in New York when there was 2 interracial relationships in their Spider-Man movie? What? Shouldn't they have?
No, they're still fucking mad about MJ.
I know, but shouldn't they have like lost their fucking mind? There was 2 of them, 2 in their Spider-Man movie, in their precious comic book movie. No,
I don't know. I don't know, man. Shit. I think people are starting to like listen to them less.
Too busy on fucking Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck Reddit. We don't have a Reddit. I was about to say, we was about to play like a subreddit we don't have.
Let's be very clear. No matter how big we get, and I want this on the record, you can clip it, you can send it to us 35 years in the future when we finally have triple-digit listeners. Mm-hmm. We will never have a subreddit. No, we're never making a fucking subreddit.
We will 100%.
No, fuck you guys.
We will 100% have a subreddit if we do become that popular. I don't know what the fuck chased. Yes. Sorry. That's a thing that sucks to be you about it. But no,
I'm not gonna do it.
Yep. Okay. All right. Don't give a shit.
Anything else you want to say? You want to say I love fish again before we cut to break?
I was gonna just leave that one in the ether, but you brought it back up again.
Yeah, because it's a crazy thing you said. You said a crazy thing.
Send us a break. I'm gonna go get a drink. Send us a break. I'm done.
All right, Corey's leaving. He's abandoning the podcast. We're going to commercial. We'll be back in a second.
My name is Peter B. Parker. I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for the last 22 years, I thought I was the one and only Spider-Man. What a day. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. You see, I saved the city, fell in love, I got married, saved the city some more, maybe too much. My marriage got testy, made some dicey money choices, don't invest in a spider-themed restaurant. Then like 15 years passed, blah, 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 super burn. I broke my back, a drone flew into my face. I buried Aunt May, my wife and I split up. But I handled it like a champion. Because you know what? No matter how many times I get hit, I always get back up. And I got a lot of time to reflect and work on myself. Did you know that seahorses, that they mate for life? Could you imagine a seahorse seeing another seahorse and then making it work? She wanted kids and it scared me. I'm pretty sure I broke her heart. Flash forward, I'm in my apartment doing push-ups, doing ab crunches, getting strong. When this weird thing happened, and I gotta say, weird things happen to me a lot, but this was real weird.
And We're back.
What's up?
Corey decided to join us again. Thank you.
No problem. Happy to be here.
It's the time of the most one. It's the beginning of the most wonderful time of the year. Not Christmas. Christmas can go fuck itself. It's movie award season. And movie award season is always kicked off by the bastards at the Hollywood Foreign Press with the Golden Globe, and closed out with the also bastards, let's be honest, at the Academy. But we're not going to talk about the boycotts of the Hollywood Foreign Press, mostly because I just don't care. They're pieces of shit. They should be boycotted, and I don't really care about the Golden Globes as an award. But we're
not gonna watch them.
No. I've never watched the Golden Globes. I don't intend to start this year when you can't watch them. But it's just a good indication of what the trajectory of the award season is going to look like. So I just thought we'd talk about some of the interesting nominations from here. A lot of these movies, I either haven't seen yet because I haven't gotten a chance to, or will be seeing it sometime this week, or haven't seen yet because they literally haven't come out yet. So I can't really comment on all of the validity of some of the nominations, but we'll go down some of the more interesting ones. So we'll just start in the big categories. At the top, we've got Best Motion Picture. Obviously, as you guys know, the Golden Globes splits them arbitrarily between two categories: drama and musical or comedy, which has had some truly strange nominations in the past, including, I think my favorite from recent memory is The Martian in musical or comedy, which
I remember that, actually. Yes, I do remember. That's very...
had some comedic elements, but is way closer to a drama than it is a comedy, but either way. So in the drama category, we have Belfast, Coda, Dune, King Richard, and The Power of the Dog. I have actually seen all these movies, and the biggest surprise for me is Coda here, which I loved, but I did not think was a big movie. I chalked this up to Apple money. This is an Apple TV original film. I think they probably dumped a lot of money behind the nominations. If you guys haven't seen Coda, go check it out. It is the story, I talked about it a little bit on the podcast, it's the story of a girl who can hear, who grows up in a deaf family. Her mother, father, and brother are all deaf, and she has a love for music, and it's about her struggle with pursuing that love for music and going off to music school, and also staying and helping her family, because obviously she is, in a lot of ways, their connection to the outside world, for lack of a better word. Belfast, the tied for the most nominations on the night, and Power of the Dog, both getting 7. I said it before, I'm very shocked. I don't understand why Belfast is the front runner for Best Picture. It's the odds-on favorite to take this year. It has the same odds this time of year as oh my god, from last year, Nomadland, which did end up going on to basically sweep all of the awards. I don't think Belfast has that kind of legs, mostly because it's not nearly as good of a movie. I thought Belfast was fine, but it has a lot of the problems that I think Kenneth Branagh films bring us. But Corey, you've seen the other two films on this list, Dune and King Richard. Are you surprised to see either of them here, or not surprised?
I'm not surprised. Well, I guess I'm a little surprised about Dune. The only reason I'm surprised...
That's the one I'm surprised by, too.
Yes, I'm surprised by Dune. King Richard, I thought was a good movie, and I was like, I'm sure this is going to be nominated for a bunch of stuff. Whether I think it deserves to win things, it's a different
I thought Will would be nominated. I was not as sure about the movie itself, but with the Golden Globes, you get 10 nominees.
I'm less surprised. So. I feel like I was like, they're going to get... If Will gets it, I'm sure they're going to get that. So I'm less surprised by that. But yeah, like Dune, especially with like how snubbed Blade Runner got, I'm genuinely surprised. Maybe this is finally people like waking up to the fact that he's like, I don't know why it's like waking up to the fact he's a damn good director, and it's just very strange to me like why Blade Runner was just like left off.
Is one of the best, if not the best, working director right now. His run is unparalleled, and I'm glad you pointed out that this movie has a lot of parallels between this and Blade Runner 2049, a movie both Corey and I really love, and that does not get the respect that I think it deserves, and did not on Oscar night. I think it only got one nomination, and that was for special effects. I think.
But I mean, looking at this though, I'm wondering, maybe because Dune was like already like a known story, but I mean, it did really well in the box office for the pandemic.
I also think the fact that you could watch it at home, and it was it was like an event in the best way we can have events in COVID society for films. I think everyone I think as far as everyone is concerned, and when you're talking about a cultural phenomenon, I think everyone saw this movie, which was different than Blade Runner, which I think a lot of people did not see that movie.
It's a sequel to many reasons. It's a sequel to a movie that doesn't really hold up that well.
I still really fuck with Blade Runner, but I also just love movies.
I think
you have to love movies to really love classic Blade Runner.
I think also Blade Runner is hard because it's like, I mean, in a sense, like watching Dune as well, but it's like you can see all the things that like came after it, so it's a little bit distracting to like watching. Like, this is like, I've seen this before. I'm like, yeah, you've seen it before because it started with this thing. So
right. Also, I know a lot more people that found Dune boring than I do really loved it.
And I can understand.
No, I can't understand it.
I thought you said in comparison to Blade Runner, but
then no. I don't know. I actually don't know anybody who saw Blade Runner 2049 and didn't love it. Yeah. I just think the difference is a lot of people did not see that movie.
Yeah, no, it's like the amount of people who are like, that was boring. I don't know, it wasn't about anything. I'm like, will we not watch
I also think
this?
it's the same complaint that you heard. This is going back to Lord of the Rings, which is different because they shot the Lord of the Rings together basically and split it up into sequence. But it's the same complaint I heard from people that were like, this movie's bad because it's not a complete story. And it's like, we did this already. We had 2 Dune movies where they did the complete story, and you know what? Those movies are unfucking watchable. There's a reason that we have series now. And I mean, it doesn't always go well. Shout out to the Harry Potter movies, which are bad. And I think this is the best.
In a bubble, they're not bad.
No,
without what?
Bad.
No, yeah, without I didn't read the books and I thought they were great movies. Now I go back and watch it. No, I think you're in a different place from me then. I think you're very wrong then, because if I saw them without reading the books and I enjoyed them immensely, I thought they were good. And watching them
I think you've
now,
got your Tobey Maguire goggles on.
No, fuck all. This is a very different thing. You know.
I think those movies in a vacuum, even disregarding the book, not the first 3. The first 3 are fine. The last 5 are bad.
I disagree with you. I think I can see you make the case for Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood, but I think Deathly Hallows and Goblet of Fire. Goblet of Fire is very different in the book, but I think Goblet of Fire is a very fun movie.
Just random shit happens in the movie. We're not talking about Harry Potter, though. We're not talking about Harry Potter. It did not get nominated for any Golden Globes this year, surprisingly.
But we are going to get the reunion special coming up soon.
I know. What's that going to be?
I don't know. They're just going to be like, that was a good movie. Yeah.
It's going to be it. I think that's what it's going to be, right?
I think like this wasn't this fun, guys. And I'm like, okay. Like, y'all are old now, because I'm old.
It's weird because so many of them are in like direct... Sorry. I was not going to say that.
Sorry.
Are in direct opposition to J.K. Rowling at the moment.
I mean, she's clearly not invited.
No, it's this. She's been conspicuously left off of all of the press for that stuff. So yeah, I mean, like, to talk about the category before we move on really quick. I am surprised to see.
Damn, they still have her writing the screenplay for the third one. That's surprising.
I think it was already written, I would assume.
Yeah, and who the fuck is Steve Kloves? Sorry, Shai, keep talking.
Oh, so of these 5, 3 of them I'm surprised about. One of those 3 I'm happy to see here. I don't think Kim Richards really deserving to be in this category, but again, it's not going to win, so I don't really think who cares. This is a 2-horse race, I would guess. Not just because they have the most nominations of the night, but I think they're the most critically acclaimed films in this category, and that's Belfast and Power of the Dog.
So okay, you've seen both of them.
I've seen all 5 of these movies.
You've seen all 5 of these movies.
Yeah.
Out of these 5 movies, which would you recommend to our audience they should go watch?
I mean, Dune is the one to go see if you haven't seen it.
But we talked.
But
Dune
I think most people listening to this podcast have seen it. I think Coda is the most. It is a unique experience among these movies. I think probably if we're just in a vacuum, the best of these 5 films is The Power of the Dog. I love Benedict Cumberbatch's performance in there, despite the fact that it is a diet version of Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood. I love There Will Be Blood, and I think Daniel Day-Lewis' performance is one of the
people still like Diet Coke.
Performances. Yeah, listen. So I think Code is really interesting and will introduce you to a lot of new faces you haven't seen before and a new way of telling a story that I think is just really compelling and interesting. And you can stream both, I guess. Most people will have Netflix. I don't think as many people have Apple TV. But
I still don't know why I have Apple TV still. So
don't you get it free with like your iPhone or some shit?
They cut me off after a year, man. They stopped doing it, and I didn't realize it. Then they were like, "Here's the money you owe us," and I'm like,
I don't know anything about that shit. But let's move on to the.
Why the fuck do I want to pay to watch The Foundation? That show's ass.
You're asking the wrong guy. Everyone loves Ted Lasso, though. We'll move across to the other aisle, which basically is in direct opposition to the drama category, in which I have seen only one of these movies and intend to hold off on seeing many of them as long as I possibly can. So Serrano, which hasn't come out yet. This is the Peter Dinklage vehicle that has been getting a lot of buzz for a movie that seems like boilerplate period musical, but I guess people love Les Miserables, and Les Miserables is trashed here, so ugh. What do I know? It's true. We have Don't Look Up, which I really tried to fit into my movie barrage this week, but couldn't really find the time to, and won't be on Netflix to stream until the 24th, so I haven't seen that yet. We also have Licorice Pizza, which, because I don't live in New York or Los Angeles, I couldn't go see in theaters, so I haven't seen that yet either.
I haven't seen Licorice Pizza either.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fucking amazing because PTA is a god amongst men. We also have Tick Tick Boom, which I have seen. I remain intrigued by the response to this movie.
Sorry, guys.
This is of course the Lin-Manuel Miranda directed musical starring Andrew Garfield and Vanessa Hudgens. It is fine. I don't know. I can't be doing more Lin-Manuel Miranda content anymore. You need to watch this movie, Corey, so you can tell people if it's good.
I don't like him.
Okay, well, that makes two of us. Andrew Garfield is really charismatic and fun to watch this movie, though, as he is in sort of everything. I'm kind of glad he finally got a part that he could really sink his teeth into. I didn't realize he was like a singing actor.
They all are.
Didn't know what words to use.
They all are fucking singing. They're all singers.
Have we had this conversation about the how
do one thing?
What weird random skills actors have to have? Like, isn't it very weird to you that Ben Affleck, man who grew up in Boston, in like the south side of Boston or wherever the bad part of Boston is, I don't go to that fucking city, knows how to ride a horse, but like all actors have to know how to ride a horse.
He does?
He's on a horse in
but I mean,
oh my God, The Last Duel.
But he didn't he has to.
No, I'm saying, but they learn. But they've all these actors, and I remember seeing
Keanu Reeves is like a black belt because of the Matrix. He just kept on doing it.
But I maybe it wasn't you that I had this conversation with, but I had this conversation with somebody who's like, what is the weirdest, the most random skill that most actors know how to do? Like I think horse riding has got to be at the top of the list. Archery, there's just so many.
Winking, I don't know why. I feel like it's like really hard to actually wink well. I know it sounds insane, but like being able to like wink is, I feel like, something people have to practice.
I don't think it's on the same tier as horse riding, though.
What? Of course, not on the same tier as horse riding, but whatever.
But I digress. And of course, last and honestly least is the West Side Story reboot.
Did you watch it?
No, I'm not gonna fucking see this movie.
I've heard there was good things. I heard good things.
I don't even like the original West Side
Story. I like the original.
Why would I go see this one?
I like the original.
I can boot up Officer Krupke on YouTube. That's the only 3 minutes of that movie I give a shit about, and then I don't have to watch the rest of the movie.
The beginning of it is always funny to me, though. Just like them in the alleyway kicking things over and dancing at each other. Chef's kiss. Some of the best stupid cinema ever.
Yeah, I mean, this movie has tanked at the box office for a lot of reasons. West Side Story for a lot of reasons.
It's also HBO Max same day. It's like, it's not one of those movies you want to go see. I don't want to go pay to see that movie.
Yes. So this is the second musical that has been dual HBO Max and theatrical release. The other one was, of course, the first Lin-Manuel Miranda movie we were subjected to earlier in this year, In the Heights. And eventually, when the sort of pseudo streaming numbers came out, it turned out that nobody watched that movie at home either. So
everyone I know who saw it did not like it, and like everyone I know who saw it that were like musical fans. I mean, the only people I know who saw it were like musical fans, and a lot of things were like, why doesn't she just like the whole like point of the movie? I guess is like big part of it is that like she like is afraid to move downtown or something.
It is I've seen the actual fashion musical on actual stage.
Makes no sense. I used to go into Manhattan every fucking day.
It's not a good musical.
You know how long it takes you to get the bottom of New York to the top of New York? Not that long.
It's not a big island.
No, come on the fucking one train, you lazy ass.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this category, mostly because I haven't seen any of these movies. I would be surprised if it's not Licorice Pizza or Don't Look Up, because those are the two real prestige films here, two real hard-hitting directors. And I mean, Don't Look Up, if you've even seen the poster, you know this cast is out insane.
I'm very excited to watch that movie.
Yeah, I really wanted to see it this week, and obviously, like I said, I had to prioritize movies that are actually not going to be on streaming before the end of the year. So, but yeah, we'll move on, because I know musical fans are probably already giving us 1 star, because I don't want to go watch the West Side Story. And
I mean, you're more the music guy than I am. I was kind of talking to my ass most of the time. So
I love music.
Yeah.
I find musicals to be incredibly boring.
Don't look at me, man.
He says with his La La Land poster behind him. But
That's true. You do
the
have
worst
that
part of the La La
behind you.
Land movie is the music.
I like those scenes though.
All right, we'll blaze over these.
The
These
opening
acting.
scene on the fucking highway is so good. I'm sorry.
It's good, but I wouldn't. And listen, here's my thing about La La Land, and I won't say any more about it. The music in context of the film is fantastic. I absolutely love it. I love the movie, obviously. I don't understand people, and I mean this generally, not just about La La Land, but musicals in general, who will just sit down and listen to the music of a musical all the way through, because I find musical music to be horrible and unlistenable.
Don't look at me. I don't have any musical.
I don't like any of the songs in West Side Story. I've said it here, and I'll say it again.
I don't actually listen to music. I just listen to this podcast from start to finish, like each episode.
Just on
every day.
repeat. Do you
Just
listen to us
repeat.
on 1.5 speed?
I
got in the
listen to
car
us
with my
on
mom.
0.5.
I got in the car with my mom. She was picking me up for something, and she was listening to our podcast. Which one? I had to tell her to turn that off, because I can't listen to me talking.
Why not? That's weird.
And she was listening to us on 1.5 speed, and I sound psychotic.
How
At
can you
1.5 speed.
How can you understand me at 1.5? That makes. I'm sorry. How do I even sound like that? I
Corey,
feel like-
we didn't sound great. We should probably slow down a bit, honestly. But then again, then this podcast would be 3.5 hours long. We're already at the hour mark. Jesus
You
Christ.
understand that I try to slow down. This is very conscious, ladies and gentlemen. This is me trying.
All right, we're gonna go quick. Because we have 2 more things to talk about after this. Amazingly, best performance in a motion picture drama. We have in the actor category Mahershala Ali for Swan Song, Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog,
That doesn't come
Will
out yet,
Smith
has it?
in King Richard, and Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth. 2 of those movies have not come out yet. All the other 3 are watchable. Swan Song and my most anticipated movie of the year, The Tragedy of Macbeth. It's been my most anticipated movie for 3 years now. It was announced in 2019. I'm so excited for this movie. It is the not Coen brothers, but Joel Coen's first solo directorial debut as, of course, adapting Macbeth with Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, which makes me so excited. But yeah, I haven't seen 2 of these movies. I haven't seen Being the Ricardos either, but that is available in theaters at the moment. The truth is, this is a 2-man race, unless Tragedy of Macbeth is sick, which it might be. I hope it is. But I do think the buzz is that this is Benedict Cumberbatch and Will Smith's award season to basically swap back and forth, which means Will Smith will probably dominate the ones that don't matter, and that Benedict Cumberbatch will win the Oscar, because that's how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. And the truth is, it's the same thing. We had this conversation last year after the Oscars botched their Best Actor award, and genuinely every single person involved thought Chadwick Boseman was going to get it, and then Anthony Hopkins got it. I said at the time, the truth is, I would have loved to see Chadwick Boseman win the award, but Anthony Hopkins' performance was better.
I mean, the Oscars have they're ceremonial now, though.
Yes,
I mean, it's kind
yes. Yeah,
sorry. We do this every year, probably like 20 times.
It's like you said it before. A lot of awards is about what you think awards are and what they're meant to be. If the point of an award is in a vacuum rewarding the best performance, then of the 2 of them that I've seen, again, by the time the Oscars roll around, I will have seen all these performances. But of the 2 that I've seen, Benedict Cumberbatch's is better. It's just a better performance than Will Smith's, and I think it's actually not that close. I think Will Smith is fine in King Richard, but it's not really anything special, and I don't think it's all that. I know they always win the awards when you play a real person. For some reason, the voters eat it up. But I just don't think it's that interesting. I think
I'm gonna get my award when whenever I portray you in your eventual autobiographical film. I got
What would the movie about me be about?
I don't know. You're the one writing it.
I'm writing my autobiographical movie starring you?
At the age of 28, yes.
Have I lost my mind at this point? Is this...
Well, you're 20. Yeah, you're 28, so yeah. Have I lost my mind yet? Have you not listened to this podcast?
It's true. On 1.5 speed, too. Next up, we have the actress category for a drama. Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter, Lady Gaga in House of Gucci, Nicole Kidman in Being the Ricardos, and, shockingly, Kristen Stewart capturing a nomination for her performance as Princess Diana in Spencer, a movie that I genuinely don't think anybody saw. That's not true. I shouldn't say that. There are people who are basically obsessed with the royal family that will see all content involving them. But besides those people, I don't know who saw this movie.
I didn't either.
I mean, that should be clear. I saw the movie, but that's because I'm psychotic.
Yes, you are.
She's not good in it. It's a fine movie. It's very pretty. Pablo Larraín has proved before. This is the guy who brought us Jackie, which is, I think, a fascinating text, but maybe not a very good movie. And I think Spencer is the same sort of thing. Spencer is a fascinating example of what like a sort of hagiography looks like, where like a text, like a worship of a dead idol really is. But other than that, it's just not a very compelling film to watch, and at the center of it is a just boring performance. And I'm not one of the people who hates Kristen Stewart as an actress. Certainly not as a person either. She seems fine as a person, but I don't really mind her as an actress. If she's been in movies that I've found enjoyable. You say she's just stoned?
Yeah.
Imagine smoking it up before going to play Princess Diana on set.
I mean, I gotta imagine how.
I think Queen Elizabeth might actually kill you for that. That probably might be capitally punishable.
Oh, I thought you were about to lead to the whole conspiracy theory thing.
No.
I mean, I thought it was gonna be like kind of Daniel Radcliffe was just drunk for some of Harry Potter. She was just high during Twilight, which probably. I would 100% believe that she was like, yeah, I was just stoned the entire time.
Yeah.
That would probably make me like her more.
This is a weird category because, as it always is, we talk about, and it will unfortunately continue to be a problem with actresses' roles going forward. People write far fewer interesting parts for women than they do for men, and if you even glance at the category, you'll realize they write even fewer interesting parts for women of color. This is a entirely white category, I think, for this third year running.
Woo!
Both actress categories are all white women, so. You know, I mean, but again, is. Sorry, no. Let me. My apologies. Rachel Zegler is not white. Let me quickly Google that before I. Sorry, Rachel Zegler is not white. Yes, so it's not an entirely white category. Of the 10 women nominated for lead actresses, one of them is a person of color. She will not win any awards, though. Don't worry. Don't worry, white people. You've got it locked up again.
Thank God. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We fucking did
it. we did it. I think, again, but these are four very talented actresses and Kristen Stewart.
Oh, Jesus. Making enemies tonight.
That's not fair. Lady Gaga's also not that good of an actress.
Oh my God, Che, just stop making enemies. How about you shut the hell up and we can keep it moving?
All right, let's go very, very, very quickly. Let's pick out some more interesting roles. I will skip over best performer in.
People have told me when they get mad at you for your takes sometimes. I want you to know that people like text me like, "What the fuck is wrong with Che?"
Yeah, listen, I say it like it is, and just so you guys know,
every good sentence ever starts with I just like to say it how it is.
I like to say it how it is, and these are just my
truth.
opinions. My opinions should not affect your opinions. If you really loved Spencer, don't let me telling you that it's terrible, because it is, sway your opinion on the movie. You're allowed to like things that are bad. Yeah, Isn't that right, Corey?
Yep. I know what I like.
You like Spencer.
Like Speed Racer, yeah.
Oh, Speed Racer. It's not a good movie, Corey. I'm sorry.
It's a great movie.
I love you dearly. One of my dearest friends. It's a bad take.
It's I don't give a shit.
I know you don't.
I want to do a speed race thing. Where I'm like, I want to introduce the movie for like 40 minutes and get people drunk. Be like, okay, let me explain to you what you're about to watch because it's gonna get fucking weird.
When in the explanation of the 40 minutes do you pop the LSD tabs that it kicks in at the right time? You have to do it
Because
at
I'm
the
like, okay, by the
beginning?
way, there's just a random monkey in it, and I can't really explain. They don't ever really touch on why the monkey's there, and I don't.
It's not referenced like even a little bit. That's the best
No,
part.
it's just like there's just a monkey they got in like suburbia.
Yeah. So I will do. Let's do this, and then we'll head to a break and talk about some comic books. I am most excited this year, not necessarily for this category, because again, the Golden Globes don't matter for like a lot of reasons. Mostly because the Hollywood Foreign Press is like incredibly racist. That's the biggest reason. But this year is going to be the most interesting run for screenplay nominations. I think this year has given us some of the best scripts and conversely some of the weakest directors we've seen in a while. And I think that combination of those two things will mean that the script categories are much more interesting. So just to quickly go over them. In best screenplay here, so again in for the Oscars, the one that matters, screenplay is broken up into two categories, adapted and original. The Golden Globes don't do that. This is just all screenplays. So we have 5 nominations. This is Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza, Kenneth Branagh's essentially autobiographical script for Belfast, Jane Campion's excellent adaptation for The Power of the Dog. We have Adam McKay for Don't Look Up, and Aaron Sorkin being The Ricardos. Now, that is honestly like a crazy list, but the list of people that will be included once we expand to 10 nominations is even crazier. PTA, Kenneth Branagh, Jane Campion, Adam McKay, and Aaron Sorkin might be all top 20 screenplay writers of all time. And for them all to have written a script in the same year is pretty nuts. I can't really predict this category, obviously, because I haven't seen, like I said, Don't Look Up, Licorice Pizza, or Being the Ricardos yet. But the other two scripts I think are fucking sick. The Kenneth Branagh, I have a lot of problems with Belfast. As a film, as I've already talked about, we can talk about that at a different time. But the thing that is pretty flawless with that is the script is amazing.
Are you surprised?
It's one of his best work.
Are you surprised to see a general lack of the French Dispatch in this award?
I'm not, because I think people didn't love that movie. I think it's not a beloved Wes Anderson movie. And I think just in people's heads, what you do is you compare things to direct competitors.
Absolutely.
So for everybody who really loved Isle of Dogs, his most recent film, or I think is Grand Budapest Hotel the most recent live action? Yes, yeah. So I think, and I love The French Dispatch, and we talked about it before. I don't think it's as good as Grand Budapest Hotel. I
will agree with you there.
Yeah,
but I thought the script itself was just very tight. I mean, I was reading.
I love the script of that movie, but yeah. I think we will see the Grand Budapest Hotel get a nomination later in the year, probably for the Screenwriters Guild Awards and or the Oscars. But I mean, this is a murderer's row of, and like it's not a mark on anybody's record that you didn't break into this top 5. Like I said, these are 5 of the greatest screenwriters ever to live. So I'm very excited for this. The rest of these awards are less interesting, mostly because the Golden Globes makes their acting awards not interesting because they split up by genre. Do you care at all about who wins Best Supporting in Musical or Comedy? Do you think anybody does?
No.
It's a weird move by them. I don't really understand. I've never really gotten it. But hey, I think if you're gonna split up by genre, combine genders. Which I've always said, I don't really understand why we still split up actor and actresses, because they do the same jobs. And all it does is it makes people, I think it belittles what actresses do. And we talked about before, people continue not to write interesting parts for women unless they're playing other dead women, unfortunately.
Let's go into break on that.
Yep.
Teddy told me that in Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart far more powerful than memory alone. This device isn't a spaceship. It's a time machine. It goes backwards and forwards. It takes us to a place where we ache to go again. It's not called the wheel. It's called the carousel. It lets us travel the way a child travels. Round and around, and back home again. To a place where we know we are loved.
And we're back.
What's up?
No dilly-dallying because
Nope.
we are so far over. Batman the Imposter, the DC Black Label miniseries that just ended. And I think my favorite Batman book of the year. I'm going to say I haven't sat down to start making my list yet, but this is the Mattson Tomlin book with Andrea Sorrentino's art, which very reminiscent of one of my favorite books of all time, Gideon Falls, obviously. Also, he did the art for that. And I don't know, it's just bleak, dark, terrifying Batman. My favorite kind of Batman. Corey, tell me what you think about this book.
I think we maybe touched on it a little bit ago, but basically Batman the Imposter is a kind of Elseworlds tale of like a young Batman who is very, very like not similar to what we've seen before. He's a lot more unhinged, a lot more vulnerable.
One of my favorite parts about this book is that Bruce Wayne is bad at being Batman.
Yeah, he's like he's not a good Batman. He's not he gets his ass kicked more often than not. He doesn't really know what he's doing most of the time. He doesn't have all of his
escape plan, which this is kind of skated over in the book, but I kind of love it, is to set up a bunch of motorcycles all over the
yeah, just it's all over the city apparently. Yeah.
What? Why? What a weird bad plan, Bruce.
It's a horrible plan. But I think in the actual books he has like fucking like tunnels that lead everywhere else in Gotham. Yeah. So who fucking? But this is basically like one of those like down to earth takes of Batman. But it's like if Batman was bad at his job basically. Like the book sets out because like basically all the criminals that Batman and Gordon put away were released because a masked man helped bring them in, which is not something that's really.
Well, they were released because the judge was on the take, and then the judges didn't get convicted because the masked man brought the judges in. So that's basically everybody got off scot-free because of Batman. But the criminals got released because the judges were on the take from the five families.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, So basically, sorry, Che, can you pick up from there?
Yeah. So we have we get introduced to there's a imposter going around killing all the criminals that got let out, and we find our detective, whose name is escaping me. Do you remember her name?
I think it's Amy. Amy,
who is on the case, and that case leads her to Bruce Wayne, not Batman, or she doesn't know it's Batman yet. Leads her to Bruce Wayne, and they strike up a relationship.
Nothing serious, but like a relationship. They both because both of their parents were like.
That's actually my favorite scene. That's my favorite scene in all three of the books is when she says, he says something like, "We have a lot in common," and she says, "Because both of our parents were murdered in front of us," and he's like, "No, because you dropped out of Yale."
That was very good. That was a very good one.
We know from his previous conversation with the therapist that.
He's very aware of that.
His plan is to use that to form a connection between them. So it's not like he's just making you feel bad for no reason. But either way, that relationship.
It's a very interesting take at Batman where he was both human but also still a psychopath. I'm gonna seduce this woman in order to get more information. Then he's like, I think the scene was like he kicks her away in like the second issue.
Not just kicks her away, kicks her like across the fucking road, like 30 feet into a wall.
But I think there's a very like quiet scene in the book where he's talking to Leslie Tompkins, his therapist, his force therapist, where he was like, "It's the worst thing I've ever done," and I love that because like he's beats people on a nightly basis, but like he considers doing that the worst thing he's ever done.
I'm glad you pointed out that he is kind of not being using this word hyperbolically. He's kind of psychopathic in this book, because there was a moment up until literally he's fighting the other imposter that I thought the reveal in this book was going to be that he was doing it. And it was either he was an unreliable narrator or he had some sort of break. Because we get that line from Amy where she says maybe Batman doesn't realize that he's doing it. After we find out that the rat guy who... What a harrowing scene where we watch him kill himself with the police officer's gun in the interrogation room. Says that
seriously.
She's like, "Why did Batman hit me? He didn't seem to know who I was." And it's because obviously,
it's
we find out later
Batman.
that the Batman that he's friends with is staring right in front of him, which is it's one of those things where like at the time you just think, "What are these dumb cops doing?" And then you realize that's obviously very intentional. That he leaned in close enough that the guy could get his gun so he would kill himself. Although big risk, like assuming this guy's gonna commit suicide.
Also, like why? Also, with the cop bring his there's a lot of weird.
I feel like cops, as a guy who works in an office.
Well, like
people who have guns.
If you're interrogating someone,
offices.
What I'm saying, bring it up like interrogating. Like,
it's true.
to the point you can just reach over and just grab it out of your holster.
Yes.
I thought it had to be like strapped in,
control,
like,
as they say.
Yes, fair enough. I was actually kind of looking for other Batman comics that came out this year, but I wasn't able to find anything concrete.
I've read some good Batman books. Again, I haven't sat down to make my list yet, so I'm not going to be able to pull them off the top of my head.
I am excited to do that.
But this is fucking fantastic. It does not hurt that Andrea Sorrentino's art is once again like a perfect fit for this, much like Gideon Falls was like the art it's like the right kind of bleak and shadowy that really works for this story. And of course this is one of the bleaker Batman books I've read in a while. I mean, this is on par with the likes of Batman Damned from 2 years ago, last year, 2 years ago. So I think it's the last really fucked Batman book I read.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you think of a Batman book, do you prefer this version of a Batman book, or like is this something, or are you kind of like a little bit like more all over, like whatever works kind of situation?
I just in general, because something's broken in my brain, I'm usually partial to dark things.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, yes.
So yeah.
I mean, I think
this is my preferred version of Batman. Is a Batman who is, because I think the thing about Batman that people make a joke about, but is the truth, is that he is crazy. It's crazy that this billionaire puts on a bat suit and beats up criminals at night. I think Batman books that don't acknowledge that are never going to be as good as the ones that do. I think that's the difference, right? Is you have to acknowledge there is something.
Grant Morrison is my only like push. Well, he realizes something's wrong with him, but he's like, it's definitely a lot more of like the fun aspects of.
Yeah, Batman. I don't think it has to be bleak, but I just think that's usually the way it goes when you're when you're examining somebody who has a clear mental illness, the way that Bruce Wayne does, then it's hard not to make that be something that's sort of dark, as this guy who has a mental illness and then chooses to go out at night and beat the shit out of criminals. But yeah, I mean, like you said, there are versions of it that are not as bleak. As...
Well, I mean, like my favorite, most recent, like original comics, like from Batman, were like the White Knight runs.
Yeah.
And in that, like they kind of do portray Batman as being the bad guy to Joker being the protagonist, which I thought, if you haven't read Batman White Knight, just go pick up that book. It's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I really did like the story, and it made me very excited to see the Batman more than I already was.
What did you think of the ending reveal?
What do you mean?
Did you find it
Which
satisfying? The who the imposter is?
I kind of figured it was a cop. The second
yeah, I mean, I think once he says it, it clicks in your head. You're like, obviously, and it makes you go back and look at some of the earlier interactions we have with that specific police officer. One of my favorite pages in the book is I'll bring it up on screen. Is actually
I think my problem
very evil.
Not the problem with detective fiction or like mystery fiction as a thing, but when you read as many stories as we do and kind of start analyzing them and talk about them, it's like when you have a mystery, you have to see the person who did it. And the point of it is like after it's like, why did they do it? So if it was just some random person being Batman, it wouldn't be satisfying. Right. So you kind of just like from the get-go is like look at the list of people who it could be, and I'm like, it's not gonna be the fat evil person. It's not gonna be the fat evil rich person. It's probably not the creepy like kid. It could have been him, but I don't know. It kind of like by the second issue, I'm like, it's probably the cop. Yeah. But the most interesting part about the book wasn't the reveal behind it. I think it was more of just like post that the fallout of it, because it seems like if anything, it was more of like in this universe. We don't know what Bruce Wayne keeps on doing afterwards, but it kind of seemed like in the sense it was like the Batman was like over, like the Batman experiment was over, in a sense. And I'd be more interested to see a story of like what would happen if Batman, like the Batman persona was so tainted he had to get rid of it. What would Bruce Wayne do from there?
Yeah. I mean, there's that very pointed conversation he has with his therapist where she says, Bruce Wayne, with all of your money and power, could help the world. You don't need to do this as Batman.
Is he supposed to be under 30? Because he says the lines to be like, I only get $1 million a year, which I mean, hey, that's a lot of money. But for a guy who just like spends a lot of it like doing what he does, I can get why he might not have a lot of like walking around money.
Yeah, this is a young Batman, which is also another take that I kind of wish we got to see more is like young. I mean, I know we get Batman Year One is like one of the most famous examples of young Batman. I guess is he even really supposed to be that young in Year One?
They always fluctuate whenever how old they usually will make Bruce when he comes back. Because I mean, this is a hard thing to do with a character like him. Like he has all these skills, so he has to be like in his like late 20s to begin his journey because it's like.
Well, I like that we get that line, and it sort of does the retcon of the timeline thing where we get the line where young Bruce Wayne at age 9 is sent off to a Russian boarding school,
like a Russian military boarding.
Russian
like
military school.
Some
you think
insane
at age
shit.
9 he's starting to learn how to beat the shit out of people in the yard.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure that he you know what they say about sending kids to Russia? They usually end up being A-okay.
Who is they? Who is they that say that?
Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I just really would like more else. I mean, I say this every time, so I feel like I sound like a broken record. I would love more Elseworld books like this. I think DC's, when given the blank canvas that is superhero characters, I think you can sort of do anything you want, especially as somebody who's been so well trodden as the Batman. It's not interesting anymore to see a story that's we've seen before. I think it's better when you do stuff like this, and especially when you can flip a character on its head in a way that feels true to the character. I'm not interested in seeing like Batman become a go-go dancer. I do. That was crazy.
Wait, hold on. Let's bring that one back real quick. Hold on now.
All right. Well, Corey's interested in that. I'm not as interested in that narratively. Maybe as like a, quick YouTube video, I'll check it out. But
I mean, in the the Titans video, like in the Titans TV show's like second season, they had the actor who played.
Did you watch the second season of Titans?
Oh, I did. I didn't watch. I'm not watching the third season though, because that second season was one of the worst pieces of shit ever. It was bad. That's a bad TV show. It's just all around. It's just a bad TV show.
Yeah, I couldn't really make it past the first season.
But they had the actor who played Jorah in Game of Thrones played Bruce Wayne, and at one point
Jorah? First or second Jorah?
There's 2 Jorahs in the Game of Thrones TV show?
Yes, right?
No, the one who's obsessed with Daenerys.
Yeah, you're forgetting that in his first season appearance, he's played by the guy who eventually goes on to play the Transporter in the Transporter TV shows.
You're a liar. You're very wrong. I'm sorry. I disagree with you. I think you're completely wrong on this.
Am I thinking of a different character? Don't gaslight me on the podcast.
I'm not gaslighting you. I think you're very wrong. Don't. No, you're fucking with me.
Oh, no. Shit. No, sorry. That's not Jorah. I got him confused with Dario Naharis.
Yes, thank you.
Fault.
Okay.
My fault. You're right. That's my bad.
Jesus Christ. All right, never mind. I don't even care.
I used to have the Game of Thrones names like filed in my head like a fucking encyclopedia.
I had to think about it too. It took me a while. But I mean, like, I'm glad to see that DC is still going really strong with this Black Label experiment. It's only been around for 3 years so far. Yeah. But just a quick rundown. I mean, we've had like Batman Damned, Superman Year One, which was great. Batman White Knight, we always talked about. There's a lot of good shit in here. Batman 3 Jokers, The Question, Death of Vic Sage, Wonder Woman, Dead Earth. I like what DC's doing. I like because Marvel used to do this thing called Max, and I don't think they do it anymore. But it was like unrated.
It was the one that was started by the Jessica Jones comic. Alias.
Yes. Yes. Alias, that's where Kick-Ass came from as well. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm hoping that DC keeps doing an experiment. I kind of hope Marvel comes back and does it too, but I feel like with the DC... with the
Marvel,
Disney,
I don't think Marvel will anymore because I think Marvel's wants to be the kid-friendly company.
Yeah, I don't think they...
What's the...
I
have we
want
read
to
anything that's
see
really like
Spider-Man
even, like,
say
teen-friendly?
fuck. Huh?
Yeah. So have we read anything from Marvel in a while that's even been like teen-friendly?
Yeah, no,
Gwenpool is the closest thing that's like, but it's like cartoonish violence. And like obviously the Deadpool books I think get
Young Avengers were
but-
always... Young Avengers and Champions have always been geared towards teens. And like the Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, they have a good amount of stuff that's still geared towards like younger audience.
I don't think we will ever see anything quite like, for example, like the Nice House on the Lake from Marvel ever
Yes.
again. And that's it's kind of a bummer. I think they have characters that would lend themselves pretty interesting to that same way that DC does.
I mean, I couldn't wait. I mean, the reason I got in, well, my first couple of Marvel comics were like Blade Max comics.
Yeah.
Like, and which, shame on the people who bought me. I will not name names, but I told them I like Blade comics and they came back with that, which is technically what I asked for, but I was way too young to be reading those comics. Yeah.
Although my first comic book was I think Wanted, so
I think my second comic
not
was
like
Marvel
my starting
Zombies.
point was any better.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that Mark Miller gets to the youth very early on. It helps.
Is it Mark? Can we blame all of Reddit on Mark Miller? Do we think he's to blame? I would love to blame him for that.
I
That's why
don't
I'm
blame
asking.
him all of it, but I definitely think he's a contributing factor to those straight white men fantasies.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
As long
it's
as I blame him a little bit.
I think a lot of people who like comics get a lot of people who have read Mark Miller books.
Yeah. Fair enough. Isn't it insane that that guy wrote Civil War?
And Civil War's not a good comic.
No, but it's like he was like wrote one of the
in-
most important storylines in the history of Marvel Comics.
It is more insane to me the fact that like this is back when Bendis was sane, and they didn't
Mm.
pick Bendis to do this.
Joy Operation #2 coming out next
Shut
week.
up.
though, so
No, I'm saying that like they shut up. Shut your fucking mouth.
Look out.
Shut up. Makes no sense to me because Bendis' new Avengers run was fire, and then he gets put in a fucking big old halt because of Civil War. His Fallout book from Civil War, though, was very good, though. The new Avengers run, where they're on the run, is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. You can pre-order it for $4. Dark Horse's website.
What are you talking about? Joy Operation still?
Joy
All right.
Operation #2.
Jay, how you doing on time?
We can take a quick break and then talk about Hawkeye penultimate episode.
All right.
Let's do that.
You were never a god. You were never even a man. You're letting him kill Martha. What does that mean? Why did you say that name? Find him! Save Martha!
And we're back.
Sup?
It is an hour and 40 minutes into the podcast.
Yes, it is.
Che has to run out the door very soon to go catch his Nightmare Alley showtime. So we're going to do a quick, and I mean genuinely quick, despite the fact that Cory and I don't do anything quick. Should I have said that out loud? I don't know if I should have said that out loud.
You shouldn't have followed up right there. You could have kept it going. I wasn't gonna make a joke there, but you were the one who stopped it.
We're going to do a quick discussion of the Hawkeye penultimate episode in preparation for next week's season or series finale, which I think it's probably
Wondering where that's
series
gonna go.
finale. Yeah.
So yeah, no, guys, big spoilers. So get out of here if you.
Although not a lot this episode not a lot of development. A lot of very cool scenes. Love the Yelena Kate Bishop scene. That was
I forgot how amazing Yelena is as a character. I like Black Widow was fantastic. I'm like, oh wait, no, this is why she needs to be here forever. And I swear to God, if I don't get a spin-off show or movie with her and Kate Bishop, I'm gonna keep saying Kate Bishop the entire time.
realizing it. Yeah, I think they're realizing that's the move. I mean,
it's smart though. It's like Hawkeye, Black Widow 2.0. It makes sense on paper, and it's like it seems like they have a pretty. Despite Kate Bishop being absolutely mortified by this woman being in her apartment and eating her macaroni and cheese.
Although
their
I do
chemistry
love
was
that
really
line
good.
where it clicks with her that it clicks with Kate that she's like, "You would have killed me already." I
like,
wouldn't
oh,
be
yeah,
able to close
absolutely.
the door, and then she sits down. She's like, "Yeah."
I love that she was laughing. I'm like, no, I don't want to kill you. Could have killed you.
We in relation to Yelena, obviously played by Florence Pugh, and then of course Jeremy Renner was a massive actor before he joined the MCU. Haley Steinfeld on the come up. We have Vera Farmiga just playing sort of a bit part in this. We've talked about this before.
Not anymore.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, but one of the best things about the success of Marvel is the fact that they can attract such talented actors. I mean, Brie Larson, I think, is probably the best. Was one of the best actors to join at the time, like peak. That was post Oscar.
Yep.
Win or nominated? I can't remember if she won for Room or not.
I think she won for Room.
She won, yeah. So after she won an Oscar, she put on some tights, which I know everyone likes to make jokes. Everyone puts on tights and blah blah blah. But I mean, these are when you can really sink your teeth into these things, as we saw with that. I think the two scenes we got with Elaine in this episode are
which was like
great.
I mean, like I think Marvel's also knocking it out of the park so far with the post snap scenes when people are coming back from it, and like
I saw the visualization that was so cool. The way it
very cool,
melted in and out, and we get to see the wall change. That was really cool.
Very cool. Like it was. I like this one. The one in WandaVision was horrifying, but this one was like horrifying for like it was more of a sad note. And I thought the way they did this was a little bit more cool than they did with WandaVision.
Yeah.
But WandaVision was fucked up.
Yeah, WandaVision, and also the WandaVision story is obviously more.
Absolutely.
But this one was just kind of like. She walks into the bathroom thinking that she's going to get some advice from her friend on how to become the hit woman. Walks out and she's got like a kid and a husband, and then is still, I guess, a hit woman.
Yeah,
that was a little weird to me.
I love how casual she is about being a fucking assassin.
Yeah.
There's also clearly a lot more. Like we're not going to get the answer to all these questions because there's a lot of questions being like. So when last time we saw Yelena was at the end of Black Widow at at Natasha's grave.
Yeah.
Being approached by Val, is that the character's name?
I just call her Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
That's yes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And she gives her she like pretty much assigns Yelena to go kill Hawkeye. We get that point. But in this revelation from this episode, it turns out that Kate Bishop's mom hired Yelena, who is probably
well, I guess technically hired, and I just looked up the character's name. Technically, her mom probably hired Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who then passed off the assignment to Yelena.
Which also, I mean, I guess maybe the mom is also like, it'd be weird if she put a hit out on. Wait, when did she put the hit out on that? There's lots of questions, and I'm like wondering,
the timeline of this
I thought that Val would be like government affiliated, but it does not seem to be the case so far.
No, I think she's specifically not government affiliated. She like doing because she only links up with U.S. agent after he's been disavowed by the U.S. government.
Was he disavowed? I couldn't remember. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's after the trial. It's after he storms out of the trial, right?
Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering what the hell. I wonder what they're doing with her, and
Well, isn't the character in the books part of Hydra? I don't think that's going to be the case anymore, obviously, because I don't think Hydra's supposed to exist.
I think they might just be using a name, in my opinion. I don't really think. I think they're just using a name.
No, it's probably not a direct.
I'm assuming that they're going to be headed. And I just had this weird thought in my brain. Maybe instead of using Norman Osborn as a way to make the Dark Avengers, that whole like storyline thing, a thing, why not use Wilson Fisk? Because you actually have the rights to him, not like Norman Osborn. So maybe they're heading down the Dark Avengers Thunderbolts route, and maybe she works for Kingpin. I don't know.
It seems like she does. Like,
by the way, I was right. It was. I mean, the clues were there, but still. It feels good. It feels good.
Honestly, I'm not taking it away from you.
I'm fucking Vincent's back, baby. It's funny. Like, I mean, I would love. I'm sure Charlie Cox will be back. I mean, it'd be weird to bring back one without the other. But I'm more hyped about having him back, and I didn't expect that I would be more excited about having Vincent. I'm not even trying to pronounce his last name, guys. But
D'Onofrio.
Kingpin.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
And my brain's like,
I'm hyped for you.
My mind's like D'Onofrio, and I'm like, that's not.
You can say it that way.
I'm not
I think
going
that's
to say it like
borderline racism, but you can say it that way if you want.
Yeah, fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the ever expanding MCU is.
It's like weird. It's expanding, but it's also like it's expansion, but like this. Like I mean, like when we mentioned we talked about the podcast the other day, like the reveal of the Daredevil news, but like this is like full on. Like now it's confirmation. So the question now is, who are we getting back from the Netflix shows? is it like acting schedules, or is like everyone fair game? Are we gonna get?
I would
like, Coulter back?
imagine, based on the success of the careers of the individuals, it would just be a matter of if Marvel wants them back, not scheduling. I mean, I don't think a lot of them. And just listen, my boy Mike Coulter is currently filming Evil season 3. So
fuck yeah, let's fucking go.
but other than that, I don't think a lot of them are like real busy. So I think it's just a matter of ask, and I honestly think the only one that makes really much sense to bring back, I should say, no, 2 of them do. I think I could see Kristen Ritter and Mike Coulter both returning as Jessica Jones.
Are you saying in addition to Daredevil?
Yeah, sorry. I think Daredevil is basically.
I mean, you have to have that.
Well, they essentially confirmed it. I mean,
yeah, basically. I mean, I think he was confirmed. I mean, listen, I don't think the reveal in this episode. I'm just just making hypotheticals. I don't think it was a mistake to reveal Kingpin in this episode going into Spider-Man: No Way Home.
No,
I think that was very on purpose.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would be more excited to see Charlie Cox return as Daredevil in Spider-Man: No Way Home than seeing Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, because I know those will just be cameos. Like, and I don't really particularly care that much.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I think there are very interesting stories to be told with that character. Because our complaints about the Marvel shows, besides the fact that some of them just got genuinely terrible, was that it was so weird they were on this island that but Marvel just seemed to ignore and like pretend didn't exist. And
I
like,
think they
now
did.
that you can have them, especially because they literally were set in New York City, where the fucking we just saw like is been draped in plaques about the invasion. And nobody never had a conversation once with Tony or Cap. Like,
yeah, it's like weird.
It's just weird. It's like, yeah. So now that
I feel like Luke Cage is more like this was like, I mean, if we're looking at, obviously things aren't going to be the same, but like Luke Cage's entire storyline, he basically was like a super soldier experiment. Yeah. So technically he kind of falls in line with the whole like the Falcon Winter Soldier storyline in a sense. Yeah. I mean, he's just kind of a weird offshoot of that, at least in the comic books. I can't remember. The TV show that well.
I don't really remember, and I have vague memory. The Mustafa Shakir, who
doesn't
played
he die?
Bush. That's what I was going to ask. He's dead, right?
I think Bushmaster died.
Yeah,
and I wish he didn't, because that was a great villain.
Hey, he and Cottonmouth. They're two.
Well,
again,
hey, it's okay.
Marvel
We're getting Marshala back. It's okay.
That's actually true. That's a good point.
So then, whenever they see each other again,
so
yes.
If it happens that Luke Cage becomes canon,
if Luke Cage comes back, there's no way in hell that Blade and Luke Cage don't like intersect at some point.
They have to make it at least.
They have to at least. There has to be some kind of. But I mean, also we did get both Sherlock Holmes on screen together, and there wasn't even a nod towards it, which was probably for the best. Robert Downey Jr.
Not in
Benedict.
a Sherlock thing. That's different.
No,
it's not. It's different if you are literally in the same universe.
Why is there not a Luke Cage and Blade crossover book yet? Who's not the best?
We say that, but like you say that like there's a bunch of Luke Cage and Blade books around. There's not. Why aren't there any Luke Cage or Blade books? Is the first question you need to ask.
Racism.
Yes, I mean yes, that's why. I just quickly want to bring up the releases from this week of Marvel. Is there even one? No,
I kind of believe now that we're probably going to see Daredevil and some of these like some of these Disney Plus shows coming up. Yeah. Maybe not in the movie, but I think like Echo, I can see him definitely showing up in Echo, because she was a big part of his book going in. I mean, and I think Kingpin's probably going to be a big bad of hers. I'm assuming.
I think the fact that Kingpin has been re-entered into the universe and is clearly being set up as the big bad, like you said, he is the guy that's been hanging over this Hawkeye show as. Hawkeye literally says this is the guy. He literally says this is the guy I've been worrying about this whole time when he sees the picture, and it's he is apparently the one that sent Hawkeye to go kill Echo's father. That sends off this entire. That basically launched the entire storyline where the tracksuit mafia are trying to kill Kate Bishop because of all this stuff. So he is the puppet master behind all of this. It would be weird not to include his essentially arch nemesis. I mean, I guess between him and Spider-Man, who is Daredevil and Spider-Man, who's Wilson.
Well, that's one another great thing about Kingpin is that like I didn't know he was like a Daredevil bad guy because of the cartoon growing up.
Yeah.
And so that was like such a weird thing where I'm like, if you're gonna have a Spider-Man movie, especially I'm assuming they're probably gonna want to go a bit more down to earth after the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't fucking know, but I mean, I'm assuming they might want to calm down a little bit. And I can imagine. I mean, Kingpin, the actor is fantastic, and like. it's a lot of fun seeing just regular old teenager Spider-Man go against a criminal empire.
Yeah, I'm very excited for all this.
And I mean, if we're keeping on the trend of Spider-Man team-up movies, basically, it wouldn't. I think at number 4 would be Spider-Man Daredevil versus Kingpin, which would be pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But that's just my dream in my diary. So
yeah, well, we'll check back in after the finale of this. I'm sure we'll have more answers to a lot of those questions and more questions, because the beautiful thing and maybe the annoying thing about Marvel is that it just gets to keep going and going and going, and we're definitely not going to get all of these questions answered next Wednesday.
Definitely not. But I mean, I'm sure we'll probably leave more questions post this weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that. The Spider-Man No Way Home. We'll probably be talking about that next episode.
Yes. Yes, probably next episode.
Next episode. If not, we'll do a mini episode. We'll talk about Spider-Man. You'll hear about Spider-Man No Way Home at some point from us.
From us, yes.
Yes.
Well, before we go, of course, as always, rate the podcast 5 stars.
Yes,
really
please.
helps us out. Just a reminder, you can check out our social medias at Next Time On Pod, and the website is nexttimeon.net. And most importantly, because it's most recently and you guys haven't gone and subscribed in the mass numbers you need to, go check out the YouTube. This episode is going to be a video over there. It's in the description below. Anything else for the people, Corey?
Nothing else from me.
All right, well, I've been Che.
I've been Corey.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.